R.C. Sproul was either insane or quite comfortable lying right to people's faces. We're going to show two contradictory statements that no thinking person would tolerate coming from another person in normal life, much less invading their own brain. And this style of contradiction reveals what Calvinists are all about: framing, spin, manipulation, and deception. They borrow power from God so that you don't see the man behind the curtain. Sproul said, "If there's even one maverick molecule outside of God's controlling sovereignty, then God is not God, and you cannot trust his promises." This is a very clear statement that unmistakably promotes meticulous determinism. What meticulous determinism means is that there is nothing, either in the universe or outside the universe, that isn't within God's purview and under God's very specific and definitive control. Every process, every particle, every event, every moment, it's all knowingly predetermined, decreed, and controlled by God down to the smallest possible detail. He's gatekeeping who counts as serious or biblical. He's employing authoritarian framing and doctrinal prestige. These are classical power maintenance tactics. Now look at this other statement from him. The Reformed view teaches that God positively or actively intervenes in the lives of the elect to ensure their salvation. The rest of mankind God leaves to themselves. He does not create unbelief in their hearts. That unbelief is already there. He does not coerce them to sin. They sin by their own choices. This couldn't be any more contradictory if you stayed up all night with a contradiction machine. If that unbelief is already there, isn't that a maverick molecule somewhere? On one hand, Sproul presents God as meticulously controlling every last detail, but then he switches into PR mode with his language and tries to distance God from the negative fate of unbelievers. So God's controlling everything except for this little enclave over here that he kind of left on autopilot and lets it do its own thing without intervening. Without intervening? Wouldn't that make these maverick molecules? For any thinking person, it would. So what's going on here psychologically? These people want to borrow power from God when it comes to control, but then they want to soften the culpability for that control if it looks bad. If these kinds of statements don't come from a sadistic, manipulative mind who knows what they are up to, then we are dealing with something called identity-level entanglement. Now, if you spot the contradiction and say something, you'll be creatively labeled as somehow spiritually defective for not getting it. And the Calvinists who stay actually think themselves to be superior to others for being able to swallow and tolerate such contradictions without rejecting them. They see themselves as having more emotional fortitude than the rest of you plebes. No critically thinking person would stick around after hearing this kind of motivated contradiction come from the same person. The problem with ideological capture is not lack of counterfactual data. It's psychological. And the narcissistic leaders who exploit these psychological vulnerabilities in people are pure evil.